Hi there, welcome to this full moon in Virgo episode of Liberty Lane Tarot and Guidance, where you get to learn how to live a liberated life. So we've got the full moon in Virgo, and what does that mean, and what does Virgo actually entail? So just give you a quick astrological babble. Virgo is all about the details, okay? It's making clarity out of chaos. Virgo full moon is also an opportunity where we can actually start opening up and releasing anything that we don't need, decluttering and looking at the finer details of life. Virgo, it scrutinizes the detail and is a very detailed orientated astrological sign. Okay, now depending also, of course, where this falls in your chart, it will be different for many people. Okay, so again, the emphasis rather will be different for many people. I don't want to spend too much time on the details of this full moon, but this full moon definitely is an incredible full moon for the culmination of letting go and starting anew. Partly because, of course, we've got this Virgo full moon in the sign at the time where the sun rather is in Pisces. Okay, now Pisces is the last astrological sign before Aries. So the zodiacal new moon, the new year really is from April, which will be actually this year. It'll be on the 1st of April, but that's when the new energy begins. Now we also have this full moon 2 days before the spring equinox, so the energy definitely is shifting into a new energetic climate. We've got a new seasonal time, we've got a new elemental time as well. Okay, we're going into the spring, new rebirth energy. Now what's also amazing is the card that I pulled out from the Sacred Path cards by Jamie Sams is also death and rebirth. So I actually love it when this happens. This is a really great card to receive at this time. So this is the collective energy for all directions. So if you've been following my videos, the last several, I've changed the format recently, and we're looking at the spirit of the north direction. We're looking at the spirit of the south direction, the west, and the east. Okay, now each of them have the elemental signs as well. So if you are thinking of making a choice from your stack, the spirit of the north, that will be the earth sign. And of course, this full moon is in the earth sign. So I'll be taking the reading from the north. Now, if you've chosen the east stack, you will be getting, so this is a card that you've chosen from the picture up front. This is the spirit of the east, and this will be the air sign. As you can see, there's feathers there. So this is about possibly listening to the signs from the wind or for any sounds around you. All right, now those who chooses the spirit of the south, this is a fire sign, as you can see, and this is about the energy, very dynamic, and perhaps getting some fire in your belly to make the changes that you need. Okay, and finally, but not least, this is the spirit of the west, which is to do with the water sign, which is the element of emotions and water. Now, depending on which stack you've decided to choose, I've done the format slightly differently today. I've pre-shuffled already and made the north stack available, but I will be shuffling the deck, so we might get repetitions of some of the cards for different spirit of directions. Okay, so different elements. Now it's up to you to choose how you want to do this reading. You might want to choose your elemental sign, which is to do with the earth. So any earth sign would be Virgo, Capricorn, and I always get a mental block. That's so annoying. Oh, get Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus, of course. Okay, so that might be the sign you might watch. You might just decided to do it on the actual card that you just saw. Okay, if the picture would have been up front, and you would have chosen that. Or you can look at this whole thing as an elemental reading. So we're going through a cycle of the 4 weeks. Now, the other thing I want to say about this Virgo full moon, for me, I think what's really important to pay attention to is what occurred to you in the month of August around the Virgo season a few months back. Okay, now I also feel that this particular new moon is definitely a closure of a bigger cycle, possibly as much as 2 years back. Okay, so this is what you've started, what we're moving into, and really scrutinizing what we need to let go and what needs to be birthed or not birthed. So without further ado, I'm going to come back to the death and rebirth card to tell you a bit more about that. But I'm going to move on to start doing each of the spirit of direction reading. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the North, Spirit of the North stack. So whoever chose that, that would be this one. And here we are on here. Oops, the cards are falling through. This is the stack, okay? But before we go into that, I'm just going to clear my mat here of the other directions. But I just want to make a general sort of notification on this Death and Rebirth card, okay? So this card really allows us to be able to really consider what we need to shed, okay? Now this could be in your relationship as well. Some of you might have really recognized that it is a time to shed the old story of perhaps doing this same old, maybe you wanted to make a shift in your career and you're actually still going to the safety net of what you know, the skills that you have, but it's not really speaking to your soul. This Death and Rebirth is very much about what you need to actually make changes in, and it could do with anything to do with relationships. Now, if a relationship has been struggling, it doesn't mean to say you actually have to end the relationship. It could mean maybe you need to re-navigate the terrain, renegotiate, and perhaps have a conversation. Okay, so this goes across the board for all signs, all directions, and all elementals. All right, but I'm going to just start now with the North direction, and I'm going to keep this as a main theme on the top here. I've got two cameras going, and one is going to be taking, you see the screen being split, and we'll see. So the overall theme being Death and Rebirth. Let's have a look as to see what, let me just move this camera a bit. Okay, I'm just going to fiddle around with this camera a bit now here. Ooh. All right, we can see that now. Okay, so I'm ready here. Okay, so we're going to have a look. So I've also chosen slightly different oracle cards and different tarot cards today. And I have got here with me, wow, gosh. Okay, this is for the people of the North here. This is the multi-dimensional oracle deck. And we've also got here another card specifying the cycle of life, death and rebirth. So this is about life spiraling. Okay, we're recreating ourselves. We're moving through a massive cycle, a shifting cycle. And this cycle actually has to do with very much living out of our core, out of our truth, and really out of our light. So anything you can do to actually really kind of tune into that aspect of yourself is really very important at the moment. Okay, I'm just going to get my little magic wand, which I love. Okay, so for the sake of pointing at things, this is really important here. All right, as you can see, we've got the spiral. So this is another very important card for the Earth people. This is about choosing what's true for you, getting into your inner core, and also allowing the light of your love of life to come through. This is no longer a time to take, to make, make do. All right. Now, interesting for the also for the North Spirit of the North direction and for the Earth sign, there were two cards that came out, and I was going to say about the chakras, and as you can see, I'm a major chakra fan. Okay, and this I think is really paramount at the moment, that we could really hone in of the chakras and tuning up the chakras. It's so important as a color of the rainbow, because that is what is going to keep us connected to our truth, give us the inspiration that we need, sort of rebalance and address anything that is unbalanced or imbalanced, and also give you a place of hope and faith, really. Okay, it's when these elements are weak within our system, we start actually sort of feeling imbalanced and unproductive possibly, or actually not really fulfilling our full potential. Okay, so, but I've got three cards here, and I'm going to sort of see what the theme is for the Virgo people. All right, so here we've got, wow, okay. For some of you, this definitely could be a relationship, okay? I really feel that this is really important. I say a relationship. There is going to be a change to do with your residence, possibly, okay? Now, and I think that not only the residence, but I also feel like the place of work. Now here we've got this beautiful card from the Wisdom of Oracle by Colette Baron Reid. And we can see that this is a card called the No Place Like Home, but reading it as a general, okay, now obviously not everything is going to resonate, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't resonate. What's important here for me is for you to be aware that you might need to make changes around where you live, possibly where you're actually, where you spend the most time. Okay, this could be with work. So again, this really keeps in with the death and rebirth. And I think personally, this is something that you guys have been thinking of. All right, it is definitely time. I've got the Four of Cups here as well underneath it. This is a card also when you're really kind of re-evaluating what is giving you emotional happiness. Okay, now in the background of this card as well, I see a ship, and I feel like in some way that possibly some of you are concerned. You know, you've got to start moving towards what I wouldn't say rocks your boat really, but in terms of where you really want to go. This is such an important time for the earth elemental people, or the spirit of the north direction. Your message is you've been reviewing and really noticing where your fulfillment lies. This is an important time now to really get tapped into that emotional side of your self and not just a mental side. I do feel in some way that some of you will definitely be changing your place of work. And if you've been thinking that, and I personally feel that some of you around about August, maybe you've been experiencing some things to do with your work or maybe the direction of your work, but there are certain things that maybe you weren't quite fully, you might have experienced things that have actually jolted you out of a discomfort, and you've not really made those changes, whereas now is the time. And I do feel like some of you have decided that you are no longer going to be able to actually live a very uninspired life and make the changes. And I think there's an ending for sure that you've either taken charge of or created. Okay, because I've got the Death card here and the Rebirth card. Now I've also got the Soulmate card here, which is also very much about love, partnerships. Okay, normally in this card it is very much to do with us. So I feel like in some way though there's several messages that are coming through for me at the moment, and that could be is actually really tapping into, really start honing in towards the things that you love and really moving through. And even if you can't see the passage very clearly, I feel that some of you have started actually taking the steps to move towards that, and this is actually going to change the infrastructure of your work as well. Okay, here we have also the Three of Pentacles. So this definitely for me is to do about how am I going to be earning my money, where am I going to be going, how do I want to offer my skills. And I feel that you are going to be seen. This is a foundation that you're going to actually be building up from the ground up, and it's going to be something very strong. Okay, something that's going to take you for a very a long time. I think that's because you've done a lot of emotional reflection, and maybe it's been a time where maybe you've been feeling emotionally unfulfilled, really bored and stale. Okay, this is what the shamanic death also is about. Coming back to this card is very much looking at what has no spirit in it. Okay, now the north, this could be a reading in itself really for the whole full moon, to be honest, because it covers a lot of the energy of this Virgo full moon. And I really feel that this cycle for the north, people have chosen the north card, you are totally on the money when it comes to actually making the changes that is really required. I mean, this spread is an incredible spread. I've also got the King of Swords here. Okay, so this is about you taking no shit. Okay, this is about you being very clear, tapping into your, heartfelt desire. I've got here, if you can see the card here, can you see it? There's a winged messenger in the heart. So I think like you know now very clearly in your heart what it is that and where it is that you want to go. Okay. And you're holding the soul. So I think in some way, some of you are cutting out relationships, work relationships as well, perhaps being really clear about what you're willing to accept or not. And if those needs are not being met, you are willing to no longer be part of that. Perhaps you've been communicating as well and feeling disjointed in where you've been in the area of your work or even in your partnership. And if it's not being met, you are no longer willing to kind of put up with it. And what's interesting is the third card of also the Wisdom of Oracle card here, I do have the Milk and Honey. So this is really about you going towards things that you really love. And we've got two rainbows here. We've got the multi-dimensional card and the Milk and Honey. So both of them, not only are they to do with the chakras, but rainbows are always symbolic of wishes coming true, of going for, over the rainbows, going over for where you actually want to achieve. And if you even look at this chakra chart here, we've got the rainbow around the auric field. So the rainbow is very significant, and it is a sign of the right energy being attuned, being in alignment, okay? There's an order of things within the chakras as well as the rainbow, okay? It never changes order, all right? But you might find that there's a particular chakra that you might want to be working for. And I personally think it could be a root chakra because it's about rebirthing, birthing things. So when things die, we need to bury them for them to decay, if you like, or to let go so they can reform into something and transform into something. So I also feel like in some way, just a footnote here, that you will be adding to a gift, okay? Rather, you're going to be offering your gifts in a way that you've not done before. And I feel like you're going to be recognized for it. And this is something that's going to really flower into something very, very beautiful. Okay, there's a small picture of a rose there in a vase as well. And you can see he's carrying something. And for some reason, I'm reading this tarot as an opportunity for you to start really kind of, you know, going to your, maybe even your first love, or a love or something that you love to do. Okay, so where shall I go now? For some reason, I feel like I also want to pull the sacred oracle deck here, another card as a bonus card. So let's have a quick look for the earth element and the spirit of the north. Is there anything else that could possibly support them at this time? Okay, this card. Okay, yeah, this one opened up. We've got, so the thing is to keep your humor. There could be some changes. There could be something that could be happening for yourselves that you feel a bit disgruntled about. Whatever's going on, be in the acceptance of it. Okay, we've got the higher card. There could be a trickster. There could be also something that's coming in. But I feel like this is about, while the changes are going, we've got a lot going on in the world, is to keep yourself in the side of laughter. All right, try not to take life too seriously. If somebody's really beginning to bug you, or something is not working out in your favor, keep it light so you can actually stay grounded. I feel that there's a need for being grounded as well, because this figure is almost sort of dancing on the spot. Maybe you want to do some dancing as well, but in some way it's not a very grounded sign. So get really grounded so you can get your footing. I feel this is really important. Okay, I'm going to do a quick chakra throw again. So wow, so we got the number one here. Okay, we got one, which is the root chakra, as I thought as well. So here is the root chakra. It is really important for the North people. This is the earth sign. This is your element as well. Okay, so it's really important at this time that you stay rooted as far as possible. Okay, you might want to do a mantra that sort of says, I am safe during this transition, or I am earthed and connected, in order to actually sort of channel the change that we're going through and really be supported. In fact, look at this pillar here. You know, we need a strong structure in order to ground our ideas. So this is maybe a time for planning, which is also very Virgo. Okay, so your mantra might want to be that I'm taking the first few steps to plan my new life. Okay, this is about grounding and earthing. So just make sure that you're grounded in your ideas and allow yourself to actually notice what needs to change and what you need to discard, so you can actually start putting new seeds, if you like. This is a really good time for putting really specific intentions. Despite the full moon is always about the culmination and closure, I feel that at the same time, this one is a really good one for focus and excellence. Okay, we are all moving. We've all done a lot of shifting and changes, and I think we've all learned something that needs to bring joy and happiness and a sense of pleasure and sweetness to life. Okay, I'm again looking at this milk and honey card here, but beautifully clarified by the King of Swords here. Those two cards, you know, whatever's happening, you're no longer willing to tolerate anything that doesn't bring joy, anything that doesn't make you happy. You need to just get rid of. And this is to do with friends, people. If you sense anything that's no longer right for you, have the confidence and have the strength in yourself to make those changes. Okay, I'm going to finish the reading here for the North, Spirit of North. So do concentrate on your root chakra. Go onto YouTube and have a look at any sounds, particularly vibrational sounds, or any meditation that speaks to you, working with the root chakra. And you can also just repeat a mantra to do with being rooted and being grounded, and particularly when we're making changes, you know, job changes, home changes, very important. Also, for some reason, I got gardening. Again, working with the earth element, going bare feet outside as well, weather pending as well. Take your socks off and really tune into the grass, or going into a forest and sit on a big tree trunk, and imagine roots coming through your coccyx, through your tailbone, and through your legs. Okay, and any leg structural exercise to do with your feet will be really good. Make sure that you keep your sense of humor. If somebody's challenging you as well, which I feel could be the case, being completely opposing you all the time, which is interesting because I've got this over the soulmate card. I feel that's really important, that you just keep yourself self strengthened. All right, it could be an employee that's always challenging you. Just remember, you've got the key to your happiness as well. For some of you, I think just quickly on the love level here, this could be an amazing shift into actually somebody making you feel at home, really coming home to yourself, feeling safe and nurtured as well, and bringing you lots and lots of joy. So if you want to further this reading, then possibly so it's more personal, you can, there are details below that you can actually book through my website, or and then there's a contact spot there, and you can just basically inquire about any readings. I've got a menu of readings as well. Right, thank you for listening, and any of the further details, I do take donations on Ko-fi as well, so you can find that link below in the description box. And from the next new moon, I have got some very, very what I would say, I'll give you a bit of a kind of, not spoiler alert, but cost effective, really very cheap cost readings that I'll be offering. So tune in next month so you can get a very, it's partly to do with, what's it called? A certification course that I'm doing, and I need to be able to amass a certain amount of readings in order to get the certification, just because I love learning and I think it's always great to learn new things. So what I am offering is very, sort of certain readings that you will find posted and ready for you to book through me. So I'll leave it there, and you can also skip to the back to the end of this whole video with more details about that. Okay, that will be definitely announced in the Aries new moon. Okay, moving on to the air element, the spirit of the East. Okay, so this is for the spirit of the East air sign. Okay, so if you've got an air element, that's Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. Okay, if you've chosen to go this route, or you've just decided to choose the spirit of the East direction, this reading is for you. Okay, so I just want to start to say that because this general theme, if you haven't watched the intro, this is very much for those to do with death and rebirth. Okay, we have this main card. This is a message from spirit. Okay, so at the central core of all directions, this is a message for all of you. So it is a question of what is it that I need to get rid of, which is so Virgo, which is about looking at the details, removing things that are cluttering with the home, in the mind. Perhaps it's to do with your diet, how you eat, or how you've been neglecting yourself. So this is very much about really allowing things, and I kind of just got the word letting go in this part. If you look at this image as well here, she's letting go, the feathers are flying. So what messages do you need to receive, as well as what it is that you need to let go? Okay, what is it that you're letting go so you can actually receive something, that something can come to you? Okay, so whatever, because it's about like making a sacrificing. If you're, say giving up drinking or certainly cutting back, that means you're going to get your health back. Okay, if you're receiving, if you're decluttering your home, you're going to get some spaciousness and be able to fill your the void with new things, new possibilities. So I definitely feel, for some reason, with the spirit of the East people, this is very much about letting go and allowing something to enter and come into your life. I do feel like there's going to be a sense of serendipity as well, some kind of luck, good fortune, something coming out of the blue, okay, with yourselves as well. So this is something that's coming through for this full moon reading. Okay, this moon reading is also for the next 4 weeks, from this full moon to the next full moon. Or, like I said, you can look at it in the order of the reading, which started off at the north. We're going to the east, so this could be a second week theme for the second week, and then third week, and then the fourth week as well. Again, it depends on how you decide to take this reading. This reading has been, invoked, if you like, through prayer to allow you to receive the messages that are most suitable for yourself. Okay, so this is really, really important that we do that. So moving on, okay, so this is the spirit thing. Let me have a look. Okay, I'm going to come back to these two in a minute, actually. So I've got 3 cards here from the Wisdom of Oracle deck. Okay, I'm going to just place them on the mat right in front of me. So this is the Wisdom of Oracle. So the first one we've got here, interestingly enough, is the Unfinished Symphony. Now, I don't know if you notice, what I don't do is I don't tend to sort of shuffle in front of the camera. Okay, I just think it wastes a lot of time waiting for the cards to pop out, you know, and sometimes it's frustrating when you're watching these videos, because of course I watch other YouTubes as well myself sometimes, not often these days, because I think it's a lot of noise out there all about, you know, sort of the repeats of partnerships and, you know, what people want to hear. All my readings about self-growth and making choices to empower the self and to live a liberated life. So anyway, so I'm just going to open the 3 cards here. This is a beautiful, what do you call it, series of cards. Now I've got the Unfinished Symphony. So there is something I feel is actually finishing. Okay, maybe it's still ongoing slightly, but it's coming to an end. So it couldn't be a better card to get, followed by the Yang card. Now, if you look at the the symbolism here, it's kind of very masculine, taking action, and almost as if you're going to receive something or even let go of something. Okay, and what's more, we've got the going the distance. So in the order of this image for me, this full moon for you, air people, spirit of the East people. This is so lovely. I do feel like in some way, like I said, there is going to be something coming out of the blue. Maybe you didn't expect, or maybe it's already arrived, because this card for me is in your kind of present situation. It's kind of coming to you, but you're not fully embodying the situation yet. Okay, there is some things to finish off. I think this could be a really good opportunity to end loose ends of maybe employment, making changes, anything that doesn't actually make you feel that that it's kind of like really giving you the I'm looking at the keys of the piano here, you know, and I've seen this card so many times and I've always noticed it, but for some reason it's about anything that doesn't really make you feel joyous, that gives you the kind of the melody, the happy melody that you want to live out of. Okay, now when I see it say these things, right, it's not about being far-fetched, okay, oh, it's only for certain people. No, this is a life that you can actually really do things that make you happy and make you want to, you know, it's like singing your song, you know, putting your voice out there in the way you want to. Could it be through your writing? For some of you, it could be through your creative music, creative endeavors, whatever that looks like. It could be an expression of service. Now, Virgo very much is about a service, okay, but I think something for some of you is definitely coming in within your hands, within your grasp even. All right, so I think that's really important to notice. And whatever it is, you're going to take it for the full long distance. Okay, so this is about you having the stamina, building things up from the, you know, from the, you know, from the ground up, if you like. Or more importantly, this is something that you are going to want to do and actually recreate and take it quite far. I've opened, I've got my vice versa tarot cards. Vice versa basically is a deck of cards that have both reversals, as in two sides of the tarot. Now, the first card that came out for this, which is going to be the cards I'm looking at, is the Eight of Swords. So I feel like in some way, wow, this is so good. You know, we're looking at the cards here. The image looks as if her hands are tied. All right, I feel like in some way you've got a message to you can release. I think some of you already know this is kind of like coming into the situation, your past. If you look at the image here as well, that her hands are tied, but I find that it's loosely tied. Okay, on the reverse side here, she can't see her way forward, but I feel here that she is beginning to see her way forward because you've got the eagle here. Okay, so there's a messenger you've received recently, a new sign. All right, and if you actually also look at this, she's got a sword that's sandwiched between her back and her forearms where the rope is. So actually, by being ingenious, she can actually untie and cut herself out of the situation. Okay, I do feel this is something for some of you as well. It could be definitely to do with relationships as well. So if you felt that you were bound to something wasn't actually really keeping you limited, keeping you contracted, this is now a time, I think, when you've got the clarity to be able to really recognize and to see where you need to let go. What's really interesting is this is the Eight of Swords, okay, just by the sheer number of 8. So this is also to do with yourself, okay, really discovering yourself. But they're only in this image, there's only 7 of Swords and 1 in the back. I personally think the eagle is the other sword. So eagles are very, once they see something, they'll go for it. Okay, they're very high spirited. They've got an incredible view, an overview from the above. So I feel like in some way you now know what it is that you need to do. Now you now know how to release yourself from a situation. Perhaps that's something that puzzled you, or even simply you just have come to a clarity, an immediate point of knowing that you've actually going to end something. Okay, I really feel this thing. I think you've been going on with something that's been unfinished. You've been hanging in there for safety, for some income. And this is definitely a time for you to make that change. And here I've got the tarot card that supports the Yang card, okay, is the 6 of Pentacles. Now we see the back here, okay, we see also astrological symbols here. And this is definitely a time for you now to realign yourself in terms of your emotions, in terms of your communication, in terms of your desire, your action, and even structure your planning, okay, and see how you can actually build some income. Okay, this is about fruitful living in a way that gives you a lot of possibilities. Okay, taking your work out in the world. If you actually look at this image as well here, and also on the camera here, we can see that he is looking out and looking at his options. Some of you actually might have several options, maybe more option than one, but there'll be one that will be really intentional. Okay, one would be very direct, because I've got it here with the Yang. Okay, this could be also you'll be able to offer several things as well. So you might have certain skill sets that are, you might actually work with a body, you might actually work with music, you actually might work with certain, and you might need to integrate, all right, certain aspects and take that out into the world. So for the air people, this could be something very much speaking to you right now. Trust which element, which area of your work is taking dominance, if you like, or taking priority, and really ask yourself a question like, what is important? What choices do I need to make? Or what important choices do I need to make, or can I make for myself? Okay, so this is really important, because sometimes we can stay in things that are really due to end, all right, and then stay because we're too afraid to make important decisions for ourselves. So this, in keeping with the death and rebirth, this is definitely a sign now for you to actually let go of anything that doesn't, and start bringing in the elements of your life that really speak to you. Okay, again, being the earth sign here, as in the Virgo full moon being in the earth, with this image as well, very much about taking yourself out into nature. I think maybe observing nature, being still as well, and allowing yourself to actually tune into what's really, really important. All right, and I feel like in some way, maybe some of you have been holding on to certain things quite tightly, and maybe possibly to loosen your grip. Okay, for some reason, my hands have gone to his, I don't know if you can see it there, there. Okay, his kind of, it's clenched. All right, and I'm going to bring it here as well. But what's interesting, it's such an opposite to this, which is palms wide open. So I think in some way now it's time for you maybe to let go of what you've been holding on to, maybe some idea. Maybe it was a really fruitful idea maybe 6 months ago or 2 years ago even, okay? Or maybe something you've been doing in the last 2 years. It has had its time, all right? I think some of you definitely in the last 6 months have also known that in the last 6 months, you've already known what it is that you needed to let go, but I think you've stayed with it, and now you're ready to let go of it. Okay, so that's what I'm getting. Okay, interesting here we've got the 7 of Swords, and I really feel now this card here, often 7 of Swords is portrayed as somebody stealing something, and you can see here at the back of the card that where he snuck off. All right, I feel like in some way here, this is an awakening of recognizing that you don't really need to sort of hide yourself anymore. It's like as if he's sneaking off in the night, all right, taking what he's got here and moving through. All right, this I think is about really kind of revealing yourself as well here. I want a quick look at this. Yeah, letting go of things that's really had its time. I feel, you don't need to keep on going into battle to make life difficult for yourself. It's as if we're living out of this sort of old notion of you have to work really hard, or work has to be really hard work. Okay, or in order to kind of achieve what you want, you have to work really hard at it. Okay, I really feel that that is not the message anymore. And I think some of you are wakening up to that. And you might be surprised, like I said, what suddenly comes to you. Okay, maybe what opportunity that maybe you've also for so long dreamt of or hoped that might happen. And it is now suddenly coming to light. And you're kind of thinking, wow, all this time I've been sort of really putting my efforts into something, and this is suddenly appearing. It's as if you're kind of almost coming to the finishing line here, or something is appearing and coming to you at a rapid speed, where you can actually now really release the burdens of difficulty. Okay, so I really feel that this is a really good opportunity for you, air element and the spirit of the east direction, to really check in with what you want. I feel that some of you definitely connecting with nature, like I said earlier on, will bring you towards your purpose as well. Okay, this is really kind of nice. I've just opened your multi-dimensional oracle card. It's the one card that you received that popped out in the shuffling, and definite major change. Okay, so like I said, you're cutting yourself away from things that's had its time. So some of you could be experiencing major change. You might feel a bit unsettled, but do connect with yourself and really just ask yourself what is important, so you can keep yourself focused. Okay, if this change comes out of the blue for some of you that you're not expecting, again, just stay with the truth of the matter, and that will help you to keep aligned. All right, because what this major change that could come out of the blue for you as well, I feel is going to offer you lots more opportunities and possibilities that you hadn't even considered, or maybe you had considered but you've not actually faced. Very, very important. I think you're going to find that is going to be significantly highlighted. Okay, do move forward without fear as well. And maybe this is also a bit of a card here. Okay, like I said, it's actually now the time for you to shine, and releasing any mental garbage that you might hold on to that's stalled you in the past. Okay, be really creative and allow yourself to move towards something that you really, really want to do. For some of you, I think it could do also to do with animals for some reason. Okay, you might actually want to move towards working with the environment, to do with saving the animals, or being attuned to what's going on, or maybe even releasing any animalistic behavior, whatever that means to you. Okay, try and avoid the news, and stop sort of corrupting your mind with sort of dark things. I know that there's lots of things going out, but again, this is a time to be really centered in yourself and fearing, really releasing any fear that you might have. Okay, and now, so moving on to this other card, you guys got a bonus card here. I felt like I really wanted to pull the Esther Hicks deck for you, and the message here for you is my joy doesn't depend upon the approval of others. So I feel, again, maybe the Seven of Swords is actually, letting go of the voices, that you're carrying, which is what this is about. Seven of Swords is a really interesting card because it is about lying to yourself. It's about somebody lying towards you. But I think this is to do more with you releasing, because here we have the first opening card is you actually releasing. Here we had the card blindfolded. She's blindfolded there, okay, in the rear of the card, and here she's actually releasing herself, cutting herself off. So I feel like in some of you, you're finally being able to really recognize that your joy doesn't depend upon the approval of others. Okay, so say some of you might have got a new opportunity, might share it to a family member, and they're kind of not really responding, or kind of like saying, well, how come we're not sort of staying with that job or whatever. Again, do not listen to other people. Okay, other people are only projecting their agenda and their fears. Okay, do not live in other people's fears of choices for you. And this card really highlights that. It says, my joy doesn't depend upon the approval of others. And on the back of this card, it says, no effective guidance will ever be achieved by seeking the approval of others. In fact, I'm going to put it here on the camera, because I can still read it. No effective guidance will ever be achieved by seeking the approval of others, for they all desire different things of you. Okay, constant pure guidance comes from source, comes forth from within you, and it's always there. And I think these two cards, okay, which are very much like the guidance you're getting, you see that kind of sort of incredible, you know, there's a face there as well. So the guidance that comes to is yours, and it is yours to act on it. Also here, I really love this card. There's a fire element that's within the sort of the fives. Okay, this is about you really going deep into your soul, and the five is a card of spirit, and making the changes that really light you up. Okay, this is from source as well. Okay, we've got, you know, the source as in the sunlight, and the source energy and the divine. So constant guidance from, you know, trust yourself. Very important for you to trust what is calling you and what is not, had served its purpose. Okay, and if you are ruminating over the changes you need to make, again, go out in nature. Very much the Virgo full moon is about earth, going out into the elements, and perhaps even sitting there quietly and listening to the elements of the wind, and ask yourself, what do I need to release with the wind, and perhaps what messages that needs to come forth. All right, which is like this from the eagle. Okay, so if you were to imagine an eagle coming to drop a message to you, what would that say, and what would that look like? All right, I'm going to do the dice here for what chakra that could really help. Again, root chakra for you guys, as well as the north. Okay, so we've got the number 1. This is to do with the root chakra, going out into the element. The root chakra is very much about the earth element. Okay, connecting through your feet into the earth. And if you look at the roots here, growing, going all the way down, and we can only you know, deal with major change and new possibilities when we're rooted. Okay, that helps us also come out of fear. When we're too much in our heads, we're very much fearful. So a root chakra meditation will do you a lot of good at this time. You can do that by walking as well. Walking meditation is very good. You can go out into the earth element and take your socks off and really walk bare feet if the weather is good for you to do that. Sit on a tree trunk or by a tree as well. Anything to connect you to the earth element so you can really smell the earth. The other thing, of course, which is always what I recommend, you can go into YouTube as well and look at another channel and check out a video on the root chakra that might help you. Or if you're inclined to sit, you know, and do a ritual or a meditation of some practice of the root chakra, then use some sounds as well that really help to tune up and recalibrate and revibrate your root chakra. The other thing I want to say is we can only ground ideas from the crown chakra all the way down to the root chakra when, you know, we rather manifest it, okay, and ground the ideas when we're actually grounded as well. So we need to be grounded in order to make things happen. This is the earth element. We live on the earth, and in order to make action, we need to be connected to the earth very securely. Okay, so I am going to leave it here for the spirit of the east element. I hope you got something out of your reading. I really feel this is much to do about your self-expression in your work, and it's really time to take action and things that don't have any service to you anymore. Okay, any kind of like emotional attunement. You have what it takes to go and really take your work out further, and just trust that whatever comes to you has a potential for developing into something much more than you can possibly imagine, and also will bring a lot of joy. And do not do anything that doesn't really bring any joy to your life. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. The earth element, air element, and I'm now moving to the spirit of the south, the fire element. Thanks. Okay, hi. Now I'm doing the spread now for the spirit of the south people who chose the card, spirit of the south. So if you've chosen this card, this is for you. Also, this is for any of the fire elements, which is Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. Okay, so if you're any of these, you've got that in your, you know, sun sign rising, or your sort of north node even, you know, or your moon, this reading will have a message for you as well. Okay, I've spread the cards already. I've shuffled them. I always pre-shuffle. I don't like to shuffle on camera because I think it wastes a lot of time. And I've got some of the cards already spread. I'm using a bit of the Moonology card. I've got the multidimensional oracle card. I've got the Wisdom of Oracle card laid out, and I've also got my Vice Versa Tarot, which is also double-sided. Okay, so I've got these already open on the side that has landed. So let's have a look. I'm starting with the Wisdom of the Oracle card for you guys, and we've got Loyal Heart. Okay, so I can read this two ways, okay, what's coming for me. Now, if you missed the intro, it's always good to go back to the intro, because the intro talks about the full moon's energy and what the essence. But the card is the card that was the collective card from Spirit, or the card that actually affects everyone, definitely is the death and rebirth cycle, which is very Virgo as well. We're coming to the end of the cycle, the zodiac sign. The sun is in Pisces. Therefore, the Virgo full moon is a real opportunity to be seeing what needs to end and what needs to kind of rebirth. Okay, what we need to let go, what we need to start, what needs to be finally put on the back burner or burnt off completely. Now, the Spirit of the South card also is a very fiery card. As you can see, it's the energy of the fire. So this is about bringing action. This is about actually really allowing yourself to really engage in the truth of your creative power, okay, your solar power within yourself. Okay, this is a fantastic card, I think. That you can be connecting with as well, and the message here for you. So starting with the loyal heart, we got the loyal heart here from the wisdom of the oracle. So I feel like some of you maybe could be coming from a situation where you're actually having to let go, and there's a feeling of an emotional upset that could be actually triggering for you, and perhaps seeing maybe where your employer's not been very loyal to you, or very much a one-sided situation. Maybe you're finding that some friends are not being as loyal as they'd like to be, and you are actually wanting to start being loyal to yourself. This is the energy you're coming into this full moon with, and if not, you'll be definitely experiencing it around the full moon. Okay, you could be feeling emotional during this full moon, because I think you are very aware that you have to let go. Some of you might have received some very negative news, perhaps beyond your control as well, and find that now you don't know which direction to go and what to do in your life. But whatever's happening is happening for your good. And you can see this figure here is mulling over, sitting by a tree, which is probably a really good thing to be doing with this full moon in Virgo, because going out in nature, and I did say that for the previous element, which is Spirit of the East, to go out and perhaps sit by a tree as it happens. I feel like there is definitely some kind of emotional upset, and maybe you're feeling that you're having to let go of certain things in your life that you weren't planning on, and there are certain things that maybe you are been hiding, and it is now time for you to actually start really exposing that and allowing yourself to be seen. I feel that there's some new inkling and seedlings of ideas for yourselves that's coming, and this has to be made, the decisions have to be made based on what is true and loyal to you. Okay, I'm going to put this actually on this camera here, so we've got this card here together with this card. All right, I see the figure now, like I said, sitting there, and there's a crab here. So this is something, crabs are also very shy, okay, and they're very moody, and they want to kind of retreat. So in some way, this is about you really coming out of your retreat as well, and maybe spending less time kind of hiding or disengaging from life, and seeing where can I make fruitful endeavor, and how can I make things flourish. All right, we're moving into a really incredible, the next card here is the Temperance card. The Temperance card. So this to me is a card of healing. Okay, now if you compare these two cards together, we've gone from like a monochrome card to one that is actually lit up. So during this full moon, you definitely want to be actually tuning into what's going to heal and what you're able to release. Okay, I think it's really important for you to tune into your heart, perhaps even do some meditation, calling on the guardian angel Gabriel, and really ask yourself what it is that you need to let go, and how can I balance my life. Okay, I do feel that something's definitely not balanced in the Spirit of the South people. So if you're from the fire sign, there's something that needs to be grounded and built from the ground up. I think you're aware of this. I think you're also getting an inkling of things that are actually going to be released, and I think you know that now you've got the strength to do it. I feel. Okay, I've just opened the wisdom, the oracle card here, so you're definitely maybe seeing what's no longer working. Okay, this card is a very interesting card for me, because technically the message is not to be over charmed by things that are false. This is a bit like wearing a mask. Okay, maybe you've suddenly seen that somebody's actually been really false to you all the time, wearing a mask, or perhaps you're hiding behind a mask and then maybe sort of putting a front on. But this is an opportunity now for you to release anything that doesn't really have that truth to it. okay? You know, there's something very falsifying about all that glitters, okay? It's like being deluded, all right? And I think the more you take the task of really looking at yourself, or looking at an opposition, or even maybe seeing the mirror. You know, there's certain people mirroring certain things in your life now, and it is time to take off the delusional mask. Okay, we've got Jupiter and Neptune in the sign of Pisces. Okay, which is also about a lot of illusions and delusions. Perhaps you've woken up to certain people actually being disloyal to you, unfaithful to you, or maybe what you thought that was going to actually be fruitful emotionally, mentally, and spiritually has no longer got its luster. I mean, this card, look, it's lost its luster completely. Okay, so this is really ask you to maybe to move sideways in some way with the crab there. Maybe so even start thinking about how you can actually can you see that little crab there? Okay, maybe seeing what else you can start calling in, maybe looking for job opportunities. Perhaps, you know, again, you could be wanting to date somebody, or you felt that somebody you were beginning to have conversations with is not showing there's some kind of loyalty. And maybe you want to actually start looking elsewhere. Okay, perhaps you've been deluded, or not only yourself deluded, but maybe somebody pulled the wool over your eyes as well, and you begin to see somebody's true colors. Okay, I'm getting a feeling as well there could have been somebody quite narcissistic around you, somebody who actually likes to almost think too big of themselves. Okay, somebody who's actually very likes to hold the power. I keep on getting the word Bikram yoga, you know, Bikram, somebody like him, who kind of people try to control people. Okay, this is something you're awakening to, that perhaps you've been controlled by, or you're no longer willing to be part of working for anybody or being around anybody who kind of gives you that impression. I think you're beginning to see through the veil. All right, so there is a truth being witnessed on your part, and I think it's something you can no longer deny. Okay, and this is going to give you the opportunity to really balance yourself, okay, and see what needs to be balanced. Go towards water if you like. We've got the water element, so despite the fact you're a fire sign, I think going towards water at the moment would be helpful for you energetically as well. I feel like also there's some kind of intuitive communication that wants to come through. So perhaps sitting down by a pond, by a river, by a gentle stream at the moment will really help you to start activating perhaps a new sense of self, a new sense of direction as well, and maybe seeing where you can put your emotional kind of rebalance your emotions. All right, there is something to do with emotions coming up. And I think there's some kind of balance as well, because although we're in the Virgo full moon, as within 2-3 hours of the full moon, we will be moving into the moon will be moving rather into Libra, which is also about balance. Okay, those two things, I think for some of you need to rebalance your relationship. So if you're in a relationship, love relationship, and you've chosen this element or this direction, okay, of the south, right, you really want to actually maybe look at where the relationship needs to be balanced. If you're unable to balance the relationship, you really need to let go. Okay, this is where the shamanic, calling is, okay, that releasing that truth, that, really seeing it for what it is and not kidding yourself that you're getting something when you're really not. Or perhaps you are getting something, the payoff is you're getting good pay, or maybe you're getting good sex or something like that, but really you're not getting emotionally fulfilled. So again, really being honest with what needs to go so you can actually rebalance and really stand in your aligned self. Okay, we're very good at convincing ourselves of otherwise. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next card here. We've got the Nine of Swords. So I feel like this is now you actually be able to see the light, okay, because actually the back here, looking at this is the swords all coming at him, but the image actually that came out was the Nine of Swords. And if you look, he's got the back to the kind of troubled waters or the difficulty, and is now looking at the potentiality through the swords, learning from what he has from the swords here. Okay, he's learned his lessons. He can see very clearly. Right, and I feel like in some way, maybe you might have somebody who's, showing you the way. I've just seen a figure here as well. Let me see if I can take this more onto the front here in this camera. There's a dark figure here. So maybe you've been getting some messages at night or through your dream state as well that's giving you the clarity where you need to move towards. Or also I'm getting that perhaps you want to tune in to actually asking for some guidance during your sleep state. Okay, during the full moon as well, we get a lot of energy that's coming through, that wants to come through, as well as I know we've been going through some solar flares at the moment. So some of you might be having very vivid messages in your sleep state, and maybe even restless sleep. Okay, so some of you from the spirit of the south or the fire element, I think you are going to be getting some notice, if you like, or some message that's going to come through you at night. But this is also leaving your burdens behind. I feel like you're done now, especially now that you can see clearly. Okay, he's got his feet on the ground. Most of the image here, we've got his feet very firmly planted at the bottom there. So this is a really good sign that he's ready to take a stand. He's about to get up and make and start putting, you know, your kind of action where it needs to be. Okay, let me have a quick look here. Okay, this is really nice. So we've got the exchange of gifts as well from the wisdom of the oracle. So this is very much about seeing where your gifts need to go. Now, Virgo also is very much about being of service. Okay, it is a card of service in terms of how do we show up in life, what service do we want to offer, you know, and the tendency that we need to leave behind is actually holding on to things that maybe were not really fully expressed. Okay, with this card coming here as we're moving in through, I think you're being able to see now that there could be a possibility of something new coming through, maybe unexpected as well. Okay, and maybe we can even offer your gifts. Interestingly enough, this particular figure also has a mask here, so maybe this is about you actually, you know, taking on another role, if you like, or maybe moving into another role when perhaps you know, that would give you far more, where your gifts, your value, or your exchanging of gifts, which for me is about, you know, your give and take, you know, so you're offering a service and maybe what you're getting back from it is far more fruitful and joyous. But I think you're getting that clarity now and you see things clearly. So if you've been experiencing sleepless nights over a period of the last several months, several weeks, and even coming up to this Virgo full moon, you are definitely going to be balancing and doing some healing. And I think this is maybe is the situation you are in right now. Okay, actually moving towards what is balancing your life. I think you're really seeing that things need to change from a very dull color, like I said earlier on, to a technical color. All right, I'm just going to move on to this next card here. Okay, so this is from the multi-dimensional oracle deck. This is lovely. You've got wholeness, faith, life force, energy. So this is again really tuning into the core, okay, of your truth. Okay, so what does that mean for you? What does living a whole life mean for you? Okay, and having faith and really tuning into the life force. Okay, we've got an image of the tree here in the background as well. So again, maybe tuning yourself to a tree and maybe seeing how would you like to actually get rooted. How would you like to spread your wings or spread your branches really in this instance? And maybe even some of you might need some faith in the direction that you're going. Okay, the other thing I could maybe even sort of coming up to me, somebody could have been disloyal to you. Okay, so somebody could have stabbed you in the back or really not considering your needs whatsoever, and now you need a lot of faith perhaps, or maybe you're in a fearful state that you need to actually have some faith in where you are going. Okay, this is not going to speak to everybody rather. So take what resonates. I definitely feel that you need to connect to your source, you know, and trust that all that comes from the external, okay, is the voices, the messages, the signs, the symbols you might get come from source. So pay attention to where you're being directed, okay? And it's really important that even here in the middle, we've got this sort of the Celtic cross, the actual, the circle, if you like, with the 4 directions as well. Okay, so perhaps tuning in, you might want to find that you might want to choose another direction with a message for you out of this spread here today. Okay, another card I'm going to open is the Moonology card, and we've got the it's time to take action. So definitely there's an energy, a surge of energy of needing to take action and to get out of the stagnation here, right, and actually really start implementing your truth and going out there. Okay, no longer binding yourself and limiting yourself by just watching the world go by, but actually going for what brings you light and what brings you the energy of wholeness into your life. Okay, like I said, this Virgo full moon is definitely going to highlight that. I suggest that you take yourself out to meditate, maybe take some time out to breathe, and maybe even visualize for some of you what you need to, what you want to manifest. Okay, this is not just, these practices need to happen every time, each day, and every time we're feeling stuck. Okay, so if you need to take action, maybe sort of see how can you take action, maybe go inward and find yourself. This is definitely, while this is new moon in Aries card, the energy for you for this full moon is, as we're going towards the new moon in Aries as well, is to take action. Okay, now whatever has bound you, don't worry about if you can't see your way forward. All right, you are being guided. If you look at the angel there as well, she's got a light on her forehead there as well. Okay, so she's got this light just there on her forehead, and so this is a time for you to really tune in as well and seek the inner knowing that you might need. Okay, so maybe tuning in to your third eye. I do feel for the fire spirit of the south, the fire people, this is very much a time for transformation as well, and really burning off energetically, even physically. If you've got too much item, burn papers. If you need to release, shred them, get rid of them. If you've got, any financial documents that you might not need to hold on to, the expiry, the date for the taxes and all that, get rid of anything, letters, journals, whatever speaks to you. Obviously, don't take my word for it. It doesn't have to be journals either. Keep what needs to be, has that soul, that fire for you, but be mindful and be brutally honest, okay? Because this is a time for transformation. One word that also comes to mind right now for some reason is vulnerability. So some of you could be feeling vulnerable. There could have been something that you maybe has opened your heart, and perhaps you feel vulnerable about showing your truth or speaking your truth or showing up as you are. Wherever you are on that scale, again, if that speaks to you, trust that you can communicate your vulnerability. Or if you are feeling vulnerable about something, maybe there's been some healing that's happened and that's made you feel a bit emotional, just really tend to yourself in a way that's very nurturing. Okay, so to finish off, I'm just going to do the chakra that will support you during this full moon. If you're watching the previous one, some of them could have doubled up and some of them could be another chakra to work on. But we've got here the solar plexus. We've got number 3. All right, so here's the number 3. So this is to do with your solar plexus, the third chakra, okay, from the bottom up, to do with your power. Okay, so this is also the sign of the fire. This is where your element is. So I think for some of you, maybe that part of you has been weakened recently. Maybe if we've been through a massive cycle, a shift cycle, and there's so much fire in these cards, I feel, as well, on these 3 cards here. There's a brightness there that in the background, all right, coming through the window. This is really a good time to really focus on your solar plexus. I did want to actually say earlier, that when you do the, that came to mind, but now it's definitely confirming it, is to do the breath of fire. And I don't know if you know that, that's the one when you sit in a yoga position with your legs crossed. Ideally, make sure you're really rooted through your spine, so your sit bones on the ground or your mat or your cushion or anything, so you're comfortable. And you want to inhale and you want to exhale. Okay, and you do that. It's called the fire belly breathing technique. Okay, that will also really help to release any stagnation. All right, we are moving into the Aries season in a couple of weeks time as well. Well, in fact, very soon after. But in terms of the energy, we've got the equinox on the 20th. So we are moving, shifting. But I feel like for some of you, there's been a stagnation of energy as well. So remove anything and everything that's been stagnating, be it your physical self, your habits, your employment, whatever it is, anything that has kept you stuck. And by sort of practicing the fire belly breath as well, if you just Google that as well, I'm sure there'll be a YouTube channel there or a description somewhere that you'll find that will encourage you and help you to do the fire breath. But that I really recommend to activate your solar plexus so you can really burn off anything that's keeping you back, and really retrieve and bring the kind of focus and the power back to yourself. So this is what I've got for you for the Spirit of the South fire signs, for all the elements of, moon, your sun sign, or even your nodes. I'm really into the nodes as well. So if that's where your element is, do take on whatever resonates and just leave the rest. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. All my details are below, so you can tune into that. I'm offering private readings from the next new moon as well. There'll be a special rate, a really discounted rate readings that you can book me through Ko-fi as well, which will be up and in more detail for the new moon in Aries. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you in the new moon reading. Okay, now we are in the last spirit of the direction, and that's the spirit of the West. Okay, so this is for all the water sign people, Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces. So if you've got any of your signs, you know, the moon, people say Venus. I don't really do Venus, but you can if you want. The North Node I'm interested in, and your sun and your rising. But if you've got the water element, or you chose the card Spirit of the West, okay, this spread is for you. Now I've got the cards already laid out here. I pre-shuffled them so I can save time on the camera about shuffling on camera. And today I'm using the Wisdom of Oracle card. Okay, and we're going to start here. I'm just going to move the Spirit of the West card. So starting with this card, okay, so now I feel like this is, the first card is a deep knowing, okay, which is really lovely. All right, so I feel like some of you are coming into this full moon energy with a sense of knowing about something. Perhaps you've made a decision, or you've known something for a very long time, or you're actually attuned to something that you know. Okay, this is about the wise self. So as if the wise self in you has appeared, and you're now wanting to make the changes, you know, to support that inner knowing. Okay, the main message for the whole of the Virgo full moon theme is death and rebirth. Okay, this is a card from Spirit, the central core. It's when I first, so if you go back to the intro, if you haven't watched it, it is to do with the death and rebirth, and I go into greater detail about that. But because it's the Spirit message for all of the signs, this will pertain to your reading as well. Okay, and I'll be tying that theme in to do with you yourselves as well. Okay, I'm just going to move this card into this one. So coming back to the deep knowing, so I feel like in some way you guys know what needs to be let go of, and what needs to, what could be actually be birthing. Okay, so it's as if you've been pregnant with an idea or situation you've known for a long time. Something's, you know, this is something that's you've been carrying for a while. Okay, and certainly here I've got the five, or the tarot that I'm using today is a vice versa tarot. So I feel like in some way you've come to a point, which is interesting. At the back here, there's a figure there that looks defeated. Okay, so there's somebody around you, you know, that you've known that's not been really serving you as well. It could be a partner, it could be an employer. Okay, but I feel that in some way you are ready to walk away. You're done. You're done. All right. I know that personally, actually, I'm experiencing this myself. I've given my notice for, you know, I cook, do private cooking, you know, and I've also now totally come to the point, which is so in keeping with the death and rebirth and the deep knowing. Really is about, I've known for a long time, and I now have decided to take action and just move on. All right, sometimes we know certain things that are not serving us, or it's serving us, but you know, we're not kind of really being fulfilled, and then we stay on because it fulfills certain elements, maybe the pay, or maybe security, or whatever it is, an expression. But unless it's fully aligned now, if you look at here, the two stars coming down towards the owl, I feel this is a really important time now for all of us. We're really being called to start being kind of, you know, bringing practical magic into our lives. You know, where can we bring the magic into us? What really means something to us? What do we keep in our homes? What do we really need to let go of? You know, in our environment. Okay, our environment is not only our personal home, but also externally. Okay, emotional environment. All right, so this is the energy you're coming into this full moon with. I'm just going to put that there. Now, also what's important is, I feel that some of you are definitely taking the steps. So now it's important that you stay in the here and now. Okay, you balance where you're going, try not to get too far ahead of yourself, making choices about what's within the immediate situation. Here we've got the here and now card. Okay, you know, we've worked the past, you know, there's a future, you know, and every time we only live out of those two places where we're not actually centered in the now. Okay, I know it's a very easy thing to say because we all do it. all right, and that is to get out of the current situation, the current now, and get into our heads. It could even be applying for something new, and then you're suddenly going into the future about, will I get it? Should I be doing this? Should I wear that? Or maybe even ruminating over the past about the grievances, maybe. Okay, so wherever you are, the best thing you can be doing this full moon is to stay very present, okay? And in that presence that you're going to be in, you're going to be able to also really make the right decisions, okay? And in fact, we can only make the decisions moment to moment in what's present, okay? So this is why sometimes we might have known something for ages, but it wasn't the right time in that now to make that decision, okay? To walk away possibly, okay? But what's beautiful is what's following up. We've got the Two of Cups here. So I feel like in some way, this is a real time for you now to be able to move towards an exchange of energy where you are actually able to really show up and be able to have that energy, the right exchange of energy, so your service being received and being appreciated, or even in a relationship. So if this is speaking to somebody out there to do with your relationship, I think you've known for a long time, maybe you've needed to leave something behind, cut away yourself something behind, walk away from something as well, which is what this card is about, and this as well, and moving towards something that's more truthful and authentic to you. Okay, this could be also maybe just in the current situation, whereas you actually being able to lay down your intention, because this full moon, new moons tend to be more of an intentional one, and full moons are more of a culmination and letting go. But in some way, in this letting go, you can start being really clear about the meeting of the soul, meeting of the minds as well, a meeting of the spirit of your work, and where it might meet, and what organization or person or community that could actually meet you. Okay, but we can only let go of what no longer serves us for that to happen. Okay, and what's amazing is the final card of here. So you're definitely, some of you will be definitely moving on to something that's going to be far more financially abundant and lucrative. Maybe having a meeting as well with people as well. We can see the cards here of two figures talking. Maybe you're going to be interviewed. Maybe you're going to be meeting somebody. Maybe you've seen an opportunity and you want to grab it as well. Okay, this is going to be an opportunity that's going to bring you much more heartfelt to do with your heart chakra as well. Okay, this is about you being able to really put your effort out from the whole of you, from the emotional side of you, and actually have it and moving towards the people who can really benefit, as well as see the heartfelt, heart-centered work. Actually, that's what I'm trying to think of saying. This could, I feel for some of you, come out of the blue. This Ace of Wands, which is always a gift from the universe as well, something from the heavens. If you see it's coming right at you. It's to do, I think, with employment as well here, because we've got a building. So this could be with an organization, a new home, possibly as well. Okay, I do feel, yeah, for some of you, it could be a change of of residence as well as place of work. Okay, this could have, if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. This could be also something that you hadn't, it's not so much you hadn't considered before, but suddenly it becomes really obvious. Okay, suddenly you think, oh my God, actually there is this I can do, this is what I can offer, and this is going to be something that's really fulfilling. Okay, I feel that there's a lot of joy in your approach here as well. Okay, this is really, really important. But whatever you do, stay in the here and now, so you're grounded. So if you're going for an interview, you're actually going to be speaking to somebody, or possibly going out on a new date as well. For some of you as well, there could be an opportunity where you could get a message from somebody, that you actually stay focused in the here and now, so you can really show up to be truthfully you. Okay, now the last two cards from the I got two cards here because they fell out as well. So I've got two cards. Interestingly, this card was actually in the last spirit direction, which was actually the spirit of fire, the fire element. The spirit of the south, the fire element, and we've also got in between as well. So this is actually a very apt as well, because some of you might be going through a passage of time where you've ending something, you've known that something has to end, or maybe you're in the process of ending things and going through the conscious ending. Okay, if it's a relationship as well, you might have not fully disengaged from the relationship, but you're moving into the new. It could be some emotional self that you're dealing with, that you're feeling kind of depressed or negative about, and you've not quite moved out into feeling bright and vibrant. But worry not, because you'll be moving through to a situation where you can actually sort of come out of yourself. I feel like this exchanging gifts this time now, for me, the message I'm getting is you coming out of yourself as well, and really be able to show up as who you are. I feel like in some way, previously, you weren't able to really be yourself. So that could be in a relationship as well. Maybe you've had to work in an environment where it's just stifled, or maybe it's, the person you're dealing with all the time is very boring or stifling, or just doesn't see your humor, or doesn't really just sort of engage in a way that you would have really liked to, and you've kind of put out with it. But I think in some way you've seen that there's other doors here that are opening up, or you've opened the door, or a new door has opened. You've either taken action, by being present in your life and noticing things, and something has definitely come to you. I really feel for sure that you are moving into an environment now which is going to be far more colorful, far more interesting, playful, and there's a sense of just of playfulness, actually, a place where you can actually possibly even play with some new ideas. All right, so this is only going to speak to some of you as well, but I feel like by moving through, again, if it's in a relationship set, because we have got here the Two of Cups. Now, Two of Cups does not always mean a partnership, a soul partnership, although it tends to be that. I just feel like maybe you might meet your soul group as well, where you can actually really excel, be seen emotionally. And if it's a love affair, then that's absolutely fantastic, because you get to be yourself. The other thing here I feel is that you could be possibly exchanging gifts in terms of maybe you are knowledgeable about certain things, or maybe it could be books, and you might exchange the titles of books, or it could be, having a passion for certain things to do with food, or whatever it is. Maybe it's dressing up, going out into theatre, whatever it is. There's going to be a mutual exchange where there's going to be that sort of sense of joy, and this is going to take you by surprise as well, okay, because it's really outside of just beneath the pentacles. The pentacles also is to do with something that's tangible, something that's to do with money, as well as to do with talents and skills, and an exchange of who you are. Okay, so there's, I feel like, an unwrapping of it. Some of you, I think, is getting a taste of that already. All right, or that you're moving into something more than you've experienced, which is absolutely fantastic. So I think that in some way, wherever you are, if you're feeling a bit stuck, just trust, just know, and your soul has called the situation on. Okay, so if there's some changes beyond your control, your soul would have called it on some level, if it's somebody doing it to you. But I do really feel that in this instance, this is something you have made change in. Okay, this is about you taking the control and charge of the situation, because you've known for a very long time, and there's a deep knowing your soul is guiding you. Okay, so whoever's listening to this, I hope this is really speaking to you, because there is definitely a meeting of the heart and self-expression as well. All right, everyone's got a bonus card in this, so we're getting the bonus card from the multi-dimensional oracle card, and you've got the card of the tiger card here, which is also it's interesting because we've got a cat here, which is also very tiger-like. Okay, so this is about having strength, to be playfully strong as well. Being strong doesn't mean to say you have to be attacking. There's a different kind of strength and power. I mean, we're also really seeing this energy right now in the world, with Ukraine, with Putin going in there, and there's a really negative force here of that power and strength. Again, it's very unpredictable. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Okay, but the way you really engage in a kind of a higher dimension of strength and power and dealing with unpredictability is actually to be sure-footed, to stay in the here and now. This is really important. Okay, so this is maybe what the situation is asking of you. You could be actually challenged by somebody who's very unpredictable, who's always changing the goalposts as well. You don't know whether you're coming or going. This could be in your relationship that you're ending. Maybe you don't even know where it's going to take you, but wherever it is, I feel like you are going to be guided. Okay, and you have the strength and the power to deal with the unpredictability. But the way to do that for sure is to stay grounded and stay in the here and now, and also particularly stay in your heart center. I'm picking up the heart for you guys, not because you're the water sign, which is to do with the emotions as well. Okay, but there's lots of elements of green here for me, and I feel that the heart chakra will possibly suit your full moon energy. Okay, I also picked up the card from the Esther Hicks well-being card. All right, and for you here we got as I breathe deeply, I feel myself thrive, which is also very much the here and now card, right? Because here you see her sitting cross-legged, and you know, you've got to stay in the here and now, sitting grounded, and be able to, in order to do that, you can then listen to the messages from higher power as well. That's really important, to be guided. So you might be shifting between the worlds right now, which you could be, more than likely, and then you don't even know which way to go. You don't know what kind of, where the exchange of gifts. All you know is you want to sort of be elsewhere and sharing your talents and skills and abilities as well, okay, or your emotional self, the love, how you have, where that could be exchanged. But trust in the higher power, because you are also going to be guided, okay? But do breathe deeply. And it says here, thriving is as natural as breathing itself. By relaxing often and breathing deeply, your natural thriving is enhanced. Okay, so I think that's really speaks for itself, really. So taking time out, very similar. We've got the Temperance card in the other direction, one of the directions. So it is a case of really tuning in to your breath, and maybe even tuning into your heart. I'm going to use the dice to choose a chakra that could be guiding. I personally think it's going to be the heart chakra, would be a good one for you, but let's see what the dice actually says as well. Oh my God. Okay, it's the 4, which is the heart chakra. That's so amazing. Because I've got all these actually quite right. So I've mentioned a chakra and then it'll come out. So definitely the heart chakra, and the reason I say, for some of you who don't know the chakra system, it's the 4th chakra, which is the heart. Okay, the heart is the one that connects you from the upper levels and the lower levels. Okay, this is the gateway, all right, and the heart is where we really need to tune into. We've been all indoctrinated to come from the place from not so much the upper realms, but from the negative upper realms, you know, from the lower octave of the upper realms, which is not being tuned into source, but actually overthinking, mulling things over, disconnecting from the heart. Okay, now if the heart is also disconnected, we can't ground things. Okay, or, you know, it's coming from the ego as well, but the heart is what balances and harmonizes everything. And I really feel there is some serious joy to be had for those who, and you get a sense of this, okay? So this is going to be in the next 4 weeks for sure. You know, it could be a new sense of relationship, possibly a new kind of person coming into your life, a new calling as well that could be really within your grasp, should I say. Okay, you're going to definitely get an inkling, and this full moon is going to bring it to you without a doubt. And you can certainly manifest it as well. Okay, so as you're closing, maybe you want to write a list here. The water sign people, write a list of all the things you want to get rid of, and have a closure on. Do a ritual of letting it, maybe release it, and then maybe write a new intentional one, preparing it for the new moon in Aries, if you like. But certainly start preparing and paying attention to what the full moon is calling you to do. Coming back to the heart chakra, the way you can focus on your heart chakra is just really breathe into your heart space as well. You know, just bringing the breath from the upper realms into your heart. Inhale, and then taking it down into your root chakra again. So breathing in and then breathing out, bringing it into your heart here. And then maybe you want to even breathe in and then extending it out into the world for peace and compassion. All right, and particularly compassion for yourself and forgiveness of, you know, because what you could be experiencing as well, actually, to do with the shamanic death, some of you actually could be really regretting making certain decisions or going up a certain path, or experiencing certain things. But no, it's all to do with our soul growth. So by extending compassion and forgiveness for yourself, you can really do it for the rest of the world as well. Okay, too many people are getting into this sort of action, hatred, power thing, sort of really sort of do not get caught up in the news and all that's going on. Really stay in your heart center. Okay, it doesn't mean to say you're a pushover or anything like that. In fact, your heart will always guide you to your truth and to where you need to be and how you need to actually excel and shine, and draw the breath down to the root chakras. You're really connecting from your heart. So you're really, again, really in the here and now. It is through the here and now in the heart space that we can actually move in our lives, move between the changes, between the unpredictability, and to a new path as well. So like I said, tune into any of the YouTube videos that you might find on YouTube to do with the heart chakra. It could be a heart melody, it could be a frequency, can't even find that, vibrational thing. Okay, I will be putting on some courses on down the line. That is my intention myself. There is some much more work that's going to be developed on my side, which will be focusing also on the chakras and really working with that as well. But all these areas, depending on where you're on the level of your healing and your progress, okay, and wherever you're on the scale of growth as well, it will speak to all of you, wherever you're, a seasoned self practitioner, if you like, on your healing, or you're a novice. Any work that you do on yourself is always going to be progress. It's always going to benefit society, yourself and your life and your world. All right, so I am going to leave it here for you, the water element and the spirit of the West. Thank you so much for listening. All of my details are below in the description box. I will be offering a new, a very discounted rate of readings, which are going to be announced officially in the new moon in Aries. So watch for that, because there'll be one-to-one readings at a very discounted price, partly because I want to be... I've been doing this course, and for me to get the certification, I've been reading for like over 16 years. But that said, I just felt like doing a course. I think there's always something to learn from different readers and different sort of, teachers. It's always good to kind of learn and modify and kind of experience other people's work as well. But for me to be certified, it asks of me to do and present so many readings. So I'll be offering real live readings for people who sign up, which, like I said, will be announced next month in the new moon in Aries, which is on the 1st of April as well. So you might be surprised about the prices that's going to be offered. Okay, and it is all on a first come first basis as well. So do tune into that. And I most welcome any readings that anybody would like. So anything that you need expanding on or needing to know, I'll be more than happy to be of service to you. So on that note, lots of love, many, many full moon blessings to you all. Thank you for listening if you've got this far. I will be doing also an intention for peace, and really sort of lighting up not only yourself but the world, and anybody who's tuned in may be blessed with lots of blessings and good fortune, and really coming into your high self, high spirited self. So on that note, goodbye for now, and I'll catch you in the new moon video. Bye bye.